Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, right now I'm outside the Rembrandt Museum here in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. So I want to describe for you what I'm looking at. So the museum is on a street which is fairly modern. There's a mixture of old and new buildings. Opposite, there's a modern building called the Academie voor Theater en Dans, which presumably means Academy for Theater and Dance. Lots of people on bicycles whizzing past. As you probably know, there is a stereotype that Dutch people love bicycles, and they always seem to be on them. It's a very diverse street, lots of people of all different colors and nationalities, particularly Arabs and Southeast Asians, as well, of course, as Dutch people who are quickly moving past. And you recognize them quickly because they move so fast. Dutch people apparently are the fittest in Europe and also the tallest. So even at traffic lights, within 5 seconds, you're supposed to be across the road at pedestrian crossings. There's not a lot of time for someone like me to move across. I usually take my time. Other things I can tell you about this area, well, it seems to be quite close to Chinatown. And I only know that because I can see that there's some Chinese signs around me. And aside from that, a few monuments as well. I'm not quite sure what they're for, but very nice, very beautiful. Lots of bookshops on this street as well, which I think the street is called Koningsstraat, I think. I'm not very sure about that, but if it is called Koningsstraat, that would mean King Street, which would make sense. What else can I tell you? Well, there's quite a few people going into that museum, but it's not cheap and it's not free. Unlike British museums, the Rembrandt Museum is charging €17.50 to get in. All public museums in the UK are free. Other things I can tell you, this name coffee shop is not quite what it seems in the Netherlands. As you know, in the Netherlands, they have a very open and liberal culture. Therefore, a coffee shop is where recreational drugs will be purchased legally. So if you're looking for a place to have coffee, it's better to ask for a coffee house or a cafe bar. Coffee shop particularly means a place where you can go and smoke something, as well as having a refreshment. So you have to be very careful what you say if you're looking for one, and secondly, if you're inside, just to be aware of where you are. It's very easy to wander into a wrong place because it's called a coffee shop. What else can I tell you? Well, the people do seem to be very, very relaxed. They all move very quickly. There doesn't seem to be any stress or pressure. But bearing in mind this is a holiday city, a place to go and relax, I suppose people wouldn't be running or moving quickly. I can see that there's a few people staring at me here, and I would guess that's because I'm standing in a doorway, which probably is a residential entrance, and I'm being stared at by everyone walking by. I think they're wondering why I'm standing here talking into my telephone. What else do I see? Okay, so let me just describe this, okay? So I'm right next to the museum. Academy of Theatre and Dance is directly ahead of me. There's also a very small, it looks like a cottage. I think it's a restaurant of some kind. And to my left is like a big public square. with a signed coffee shop in it and some older buildings. Next to that, there's a bar. Many people sitting outside in that bar, and of course, there's a canal. There's canals everywhere here. I'm a bit confused for a couple of reasons. One is people driving on what I would consider to be the wrong side of the road. And the other one is because of these cycle lanes. Because if you walk on them, the cyclists get a little bit angry. So I can hear bells ringing telling me to move. I visited a few churches already here. Many of them are closed, but I think Wednesday may be some kind of local holiday because I've seen a few signs, Wednesday's closed. But I don't know. I don't know what the situation is with that. One thing which is particularly noticeable compared to the UK would be the diversity, because there's many black people here, but bearing in mind that the Dutch had a number of colonies in the Caribbean, such as Suriname, I think Yoruba was another one. There's a few of them. I think collectively they were called the Dutch Antilles. With that in mind, it's a massive part of Dutch culture. So there's loads of what looks like black people here who are actually Dutch. And that would be very similar to the UK, of course, because our colonies were all across the world, the most famous one being in India. So we have lots of Indian-looking people who are perhaps more British politically than I am. So that's very interesting. So that's very noticeable. There's loads of people here from the Dutch Caribbean. Initially, I thought the place was full of Brazilians until I realized that they're all from the Dutch Caribbean and perfectly entitled to live here as Dutch citizens. I can't remember the history. I'm sure someone will tell me. So yeah, very, very nice. More people passing me here on bikes. And holiday apartments to my left-hand side as well. What's also very striking is the number of older people taking physical exercise. Again, in the UK, we don't often see that. People generally, because of our weather, stay at home and drink alcohol. But here, I can see that older people are incredibly functional. So that's really good as well. And that's it. Yeah, so all of these things are contributing to what I'm seeing around me. Beautiful, beautiful places. Beautiful people, beautiful streets, very clean. I'm pleased about that. Of course, being Amsterdam, there's a lot of references here and smells of recreational drugs. And that's quite normal because it's perfectly legal here. Something I'm a little bit uncomfortable with purely because I'm British. But yeah, it's kind of leading the way, I think, across Europe in the way that they deal with these kind of issues. So very good, very good. What else can I tell you?